This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
The reason I was always tuning with Peyton and Eli, well, one, I just like the Mannings, and two, because it was different. Now everything else, now it feels all of the same and not done as well.
Nick Morgasen.
I'm tired of this with the Knicks organization, and I'm sure Johnny's tired of this too, because we've heard this. You're tired of it too. Over the last 10 years, the decision maker is James Dolan. That's it. Anyone in the media who doesn't realize it's James Dolan, you're an idiot.
And Nick Fodera.
Somebody's angling for a role in Space Jam 3. Are you sure you want to do this, Kyrie?
Empty the Bench starts now.
You could say technically the Knicks and the Nets are both the definition of insanity.
And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over. And gentlemen, we have been doing the same thing over and over and over again for exactly 3 years now. It is
oh my God!
150.
Holy crap!
My God. What did I walk back into? That's right, I've returned.
Happy anniversary, Empty the Bench.
Holy crap, 3 years of this show. Holy crap. Follow the show on social media at ETB Sports across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow the network at ETB Network across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you subscribe youtube.com/ETB Network as well. Hit that giant red rectangular button below this video. But guys, well, first I'll ask Nick, how was your vacation in South Carolina?
Well, I was basically just, trying to ride a crocodile bareback, but that didn't quite work out very well.
You look like you came away unscathed, though.
I'm just saying, if you get any calls from the EPA or the ASCPA, I'm not here, right?
And a perfect start to episode 150.
I'm not here, you never heard of me.
Say. Okay, we have a lot we have to get into. Later on in the show, we will talk about RJ Barrett and the Knicks. And it turns out RJ Barrett is going to get an extension after all. We'll talk about Tom Brady returning to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We will talk about that massive J-Rod extension, so you might as well hit that again. We'll be talking about what might be happening with Russell Westbrook, where the Lakers might have to eat some money.
Oh, God. What is going on? Too much money.
It's all about the money. Well, not all about the money, because we're going to start, and God knows how long this one's going to last, with the big story that has basically been talked about all week. So the day after episode 149 came out, came those reports that Matt Araiza, who has been known all throughout this preseason as the punt god after hitting, what was it, an 85-yard punt?
Yeah.
Well, as it turns out, he and two others who were playing at San Diego State University are being alleged to have gang raped a 17-year-old girl at a campus party last Halloween, while Araiza and the two other suspects were on the San Diego State football team.
Yeah, this, by the way, and I didn't really realize, I know that they were essentially hiding this story until July 31st. I didn't realize this went all the way back to last October on Halloween. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Neither did I. But
neither did I. Neither did some reporters. Neither did the whole campus of San Diego State University.
Well, we'll get to that part in a little bit. But
yeah, so,
just to give you an idea of what we're going to do here, we literally broke down the press conference piece by piece, because this was a lot. Between Tom and I, we literally had to sit down and break down. How long was the press conference? It was like 30 minutes.
30 minutes. So let's start off by saying 30-minute press conference with Bean and McDermott. We broke it all down. We are going to play parts of it. We are going to discuss the allegations, the statement from Araiza's parents and both attorneys, the attorney of the victim and the attorney of Araiza. And forewarning for some of you out there, what we're going to be talking about is graphic, disturbing, some of the sickest details that we've had to report on in a while. So Viewer discretion is advised for this episode. I mean, viewer
Yes.
discretion, I guess you could say, is always advised because sometimes we'll curse and stuff. But for these graphic details,
You
special.
may want to be careful about who you consume this with. But let's see if we can't go into what was said at that press conference.
This is crazy. I mean, just looking at this story and breaking down this press conference between Bean, the GM, and Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Bills, who it's hard to get on them because this is a rough and tough situation to really try to break down and put the puzzle pieces back together to figure out when this story happened, how this story happened. And just to go a little bit behind the curtain, this goes back to my radio days. I literally had to make a cut sheet with cuts on it, with names on it, just to literally go in chronological order to understand how this was broken down answer by answer. So Bean and McDermott were in front of a bunch of the NFL reporters, national reporters, everybody. So we'll see how much we can get through. We have a lot to get through, starting from when they found out all the way to Araiza's lawyer being an idiot on national TV. So I think the first question to ask is, when did they find out, right? So so I'll put some clips up so we can all see. So the question I'll ask is, so Mr. Bean, when did you find out?
July, from her representative, spoke to Catherine and, laid out some of the things that they were, accusing Matt and others of. And at that time, our process, we tried to be thorough and thoughtful and not rush to judgment. And I would say it's not easy. You're trying to put facts around a legal situation, sometimes with limited information.
All right. So basically, they were using the excuse of, well, it's a legal situation. We don't know what's going on. Basically, they were finding out at the same time everybody else was.
Which is basically legal speak for them saying, we're not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. So,
all right. So, but the initial reports, the reports that have come out was the report that everybody started to know about what was going on came out. It was either after our show, hours after our show, or early Thursday. And supposedly the Bills had released a statement, and supposedly it was a very brief statement saying it was under investigation. It was a legal matter. And it seems like Araiza was going to play in the Bills' final preseason game this past Friday. However, that ended up not happening. A few hours before game time, Schefter reported that he was not going to play. And actually, during this press conference, McDermott basically raised his hand and said, I made that call.
But wait a minute. You know what's even more frustrating about this? It was an hour before the game that they officially said was it 3 hours? I saw it. A lot of people were saying it was either an hour or 2 hours before. That's still too close to the game.
Considering this is a decision that could have taken all of maybe about 2 or 3 minutes.
How about 2 or 3 seconds?
For sure.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Rape allegations? Sorry, you're out.
So here's from what we know. What has been reported is at the time that Araiza was drafted by the Bills, because he was taken, I believe, in the 6th round of this past draft in April, there was no word on this legal matter. There was no word on these allegations, and the Bills had no knowledge. However, apparently the Bills did have knowledge during July, and I believe they get into that a little bit here. And obviously, consequently, they had knowledge of this situation about a week, 9-10 days ago when they released, Hack, their other punter who was trying out?
Well, that's a little further down in the list in the chronological of the press conference. But the next part of it was, why did they move on? That was a big question that everyone asked. Why did they move on from Araiza? And this is the one answer that I think was actually done correctly, because they basically said they need to handle it. But So let's go back to the press conference. So, hey, Buffalo Bills, why did you move on?
Lee, we thought it was best for everybody, just for Matt to be able to. It's a very serious situation, Heather, and with the serious nature of allegations, and we just can't. We don't have the means to put all the facts together, and there's multiple versions of what happened, and he's a football coach. I'm a GM. Like we don't have access to everything, and so that's more important than playing football. And so we want Matt to focus on that.
See, that's the one answer I actually thought he was being truthful about. Basically saying, all right, you have a lot of shit going on in your life right now. You need to go figure it out. And being on a football field is not the right answer.
Being on a football field is not the right answer. And it's certainly not the right answer for the Buffalo Bills to keep him around.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I thought they were going to wait this out and wait for it to blow over.
Yeah,
Well,
this is a rough situation. No one can win in this case. Like the three of us have said, the victim and Araiza, and no one can win here. The Bills can't win. The NFL can't win. This is a black eye on the NFL, even though it didn't happen under the NFL jurisdiction.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you had said before in pre-show meetings, Tom, it's really the fault of San Diego State, the university, that this happened in October and we're just learning about this now. In that they don't take it seriously because their beloved football program that takes precedent over any woman's safety.
Right. There's actually a CBS video from CBS San Diego. Nick Morgasen, you'll know the one that I'm talking about, where students are like, basically, what the hell? We're just finding out about this now. And actually, kind of like you implied, Nick Fodera, maybe the Bills don't look good in that. Following the reports, it took 2 days for them to move on from. But how is everybody finding out so late? They're finding out after they drafted him. Everyone's finding out just now as the NFL season is about to start. This incident took place in October. Now, if it's a week or two since, maybe, but how is all of this, like this whole thing from the bruises that were on her legs, her falling in and out of consciousness, how is all of this just coming to the masses now, 9 months, 10 months later?
Well, it's funny you asked that because in the next clip, they were asking for more information. So in this next clip, they're trying to find more information, and here's what they found out.
Doing the best we could with our resources, talking to the league, using our people to try and find information. But, ultimately, Elena, there's a lot of things that we have not pieced together even today. We were just trying to do the best we could and be thoughtful and not rush to judgment.
So basically they're saying, well, we don't have all the information, so we don't want to rush and judge someone who possibly could be charged with alleged rape.
And it always ends up like that, doesn't it? Where they always end up saying that specific sentence where we don't want to rush to judgment, even though there's been plenty of time that you said the Bills were made aware of this in July. You had about almost 2 months that you were sitting on this, and you just made your decision because, again, if it wasn't for the fact that this hit the news, Matt Araiza would still be on this team.
Well, I'll go one step further, Nick, and I'll bring up the point that I made to you guys before. If this was one of the big rookie quarterbacks, like from Josh Allen and his draft class, or a Saquon Barkley, or hey, we had a situation just very recently in Cleveland with a quarterback from the year prior in Deshaun Watson, and guess what? Despite all those allegations, Deshaun Watson got a bag from the Cleveland Browns. If Matt Araiza was a quarterback or a running back, he would have a job. Again,
they did. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to go one step back to that story as well, Think about what I said about the contract in year one with the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the agent was not stupid when he made year one of that contract.
Right.
And
But
the agent had to have known. I mean,
Right.
I'm not in.
But the fact that Matt Araiza was a rookie punter, despite the fact he could punt a football 85 yards, he's just a punter. We can go get another punter.
Yeah, they did the calculus and found out that he was expendable.
Well,
And no, I'm serious.
The football calculus.
Yeah, football
They used-
calculus.
No, you know what they did? They did the fantasy football thing of, just any kicker will do.
oh wait, that's an abacus.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Anybody with feet will do. Anybody that has a foot. If you have a foot, you can technically.
Well,
punch
remember,
with
they
feet.
played because they decided not to play Araiza, but did it after they cut the other punter who was going for them. They had to use their backup quarterback as a punter in the game.
That's what I was going to get to. Matt Barkley, of all people, being the backup punter, which, by the way, didn't he have like a 58 or 59 yard punt in that game or something?
I think he might have.
By the way, Bills fans, that's not going to be your punter come season.
But
Just saying.
But to be honest with you guys, I'm not even entirely 100% convinced that the Bills did not know this until July.
Well,
Because, again, the draft people, the people that they have looking into every single detail with a fine-tooth comb right before draft, they'll find out if your third grade teacher said something bad about you.
well,
Nick.
Yeah.
But then Nick, but that brings up the question of why the hell did San Diego State University hold
did
on
they
to
sit on
this for
this?
so long?
because they're ignorant.
Rhetorical question, because we know why they sat on
No, we know why they sat on. They're ignorant, and colleges want money. And when they have
football.
Well, right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about controversy. And wait, if I can get to myself, it's all about money.
And actually, I'm going to take my quarterback allegation and go one step further. If Matt Araiza was a member of the track and field team, or if he was a swimmer, or hell, if he was a baseball player at San Diego State University, they kick his ass out.
He would have been gone a long time ago. And first of all, you might have not even heard about this because he would have been gone already. That's
anything to court those precious boosters, man.
Well, go ask Nick Saban about what he feels about those boosters at Alabama. But that's a story we covered last week. Which I saw that. But let's continue on here. So you were asking about how long ago did they know? Well, apparently 48 hours earlier, they knew about certain things. But you know what? Instead of us contemplating, why don't we ask Bean, the GM, and McDermott, the coach, about 48 hours earlier?
It wasn't a civil case. There was no criminal case. It was what we had was accusations that could come forward, and we were still piecing it together. Obviously, 48 hours ago or sometime around then, a civil case was filed, and we read through that and, again, circled back with Matt to try and again, it's a lot of things that right now we can't close the loop on.
Okay, so
which Mr. Brain Genius, Mr. Football Genius, what do you think Matt Araiza would have actually said to you? Oh yes, I did it. Cuff me. Take me away right now. Do you really think he would have been entirely honest with you, you dolt? I'm surprised you can get yourself dressed in the morning, you brain genius.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but the Bills knew about this way, way, way before it was reported.
Either whether they knew about it or not, they were willing to give him a lot of rope. Like I said, it was the fact that it became public where they forced them to move. It wasn't going to be anything else.
Well, we knew that it was going to end up. That it should have ended up with a cut, but the fact that it took 48 hours, like if that, in a perfect world, well, we could say much more things about a perfect world, but at the very least, it could have been like maybe, an hour after the reports started to hit on Thursday. Hey, we have cut Matt Araiza. We take these allegations seriously.
They should have done it before the game.
Right.
That's when they should have done it.
They should have done before the game. you could say that they should have done it a lot sooner, considering that they supposedly had known about it in July and when they released Hack earlier in the week. But at the very least, it should have been before the game.
Hey, irony on that name, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But just to keep moving, so we can, because we have a lot to get to on this. So, one of my favorite phrases and one of Nick's favorite phrases came up in this next clip. Talking about being bigger than football was the next phrase that came up. So, let's see what they had to say about this being bigger than football.
More than what we originally got from Catherine from her conversation, and it was detailed out in that whatever 11-page deal, but nothing changed from Matt's version of what he says transpired. But this again, Heather, was back to this is bigger than football, and let's just step back and you go handle this. That's what we thought was most important.
Gee, I didn't realize that this was bigger than football.
Well, it says something about how the bar is so low you could limbo under it.
Right. Okay. No. Trying to get in. I need to give context. So when he's referring to Catherine, he's referring to Catherine D'Angelo, who was the Bills' general counsel.
Yes, because that's going to come up later on.
I think he was brought up before, and we failed to mention it. So that's who he's referring to, the team's general counsel.
But this is crazy. Like, the way this is being handled. Obviously, we know this is bigger than football. It took a press conference for the Bills to finally realize this is bigger than football?
I mean, again, it's not something that it's something that they know, but it's something that they don't want to have to face until they force them to face it. No NFL team does these I don't know if they're capable of that kind of altruism.
They're not.
Really which is an indictment on the NFL itself.
Yeah, it's an indictment on the NFL itself. Just in the fact that doing the right thing is considered altruism and not just the way things are day to day.
And by the way, we'll get to what McDermott and Bean said about the NFL doing their part later on, but the NFL needs to step up and do something. I don't care if it didn't happen.
Ultimately, I don't think they will, because you know what? He hadn't played a full NFL game yet, so technically,
full game. He hadn't been drafted yet. He
hadn't even played yet. So technically, you can just give him the heave ho and just pretend he was never even drafted in the first place.
Which is why again, it's important to answer those couple of questions that we asked before. Where was San Diego State in all of this, and how come it took this long to get out to the public? And no, because I was going to say this is an NCAA issue, not an NFL issue, but considering that everyone is finding out about this 9-10 months later, it's a hell of a lot more a San Diego State issue right now.
Because go ahead.
I was going to say San Diego State, obviously the perpetrators are the perpetrators, the suspects are the suspects, but San Diego State nothing angelic about that, about there.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. And you know what? If you think that it's going to occur to Roger Goodell and the league and the Shield itself, that there's kind of a cognitive dissonance about the way they're acting here and the way they acted with the way they handled the Deshaun Watson case. Clearly, you don't know Roger Goodell, because he probably doesn't even realize when you punched him in the face until like 5 minutes after.
But like I said, all they care about is the money. They don't care if someone is allegedly being raped at a high school or college party at a frat house, and they don't care that there's evidence of this 17-year-old girl, 18 years old now, basically coming out and say, well, look at all the bruises. And look, I was on my stomach waiting for this to be over. Come on.
Exactly. Because there's no defending what he did. There's no defending what happened that night.
And the worst part is, and we'll end the first batch of clips on this. So McDermott, this is where McDermott started to do some of the talking in the press conference. So Sean McDermott was basically staying on top of the information. And what I mean by staying on top of the information. So let's hear what McDermott had to say.
Trying all along to stay on top of the information that was out there. So from my seat, that's been one of the hardest things to do, is because it's ongoing, as you said, So that's where I'm at on it.
So if you were staying on top of this whole situation, then how did this happen?
Are you telling us you knew McDermott? Are you telling us you knew and just decided to hold your fire until it was convenient for you to come out and say, arrest that man?
Well, yeah, basically this is the NFL in a nutshell. Basically say, hey, well, you know what? We're not going to get caught. So
the only thing I could say about McDermott is, and all the journalists were kind of noting it, he at the post-game press conference following the game, was it against Jacksonville, that last preseason game?
Yes.
Yeah.
That basically he looked emotional up there at the post-game press conference, that he basically felt bad about everything. Because earlier in the week, he had called, before the clip even come out, he said, oh, Araiza's, great.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to believe that?
Just goes to show how much you know people, huh?
Right.
I'm not going to believe a damn word they're saying. I don't believe anybody at this point.
The sad part,
Can't.
well, Nick, the sad part is, as we're criticizing these guys and just shitting on their words, they still handle this a lot better than some other teams have handled their situations. Again, case in point, Deshaun Watson.
Did notice Browns, Cleveland.
This is a shit show in every way, shape, or form. And like we said, and Nick, I'm going to steal one of Nick's famous lines. No one comes out smelling like a rose here.
No one does. I'm sorry, no one does.
So, all right. So now I'm ready with the second batch of clips. Now, in this part of the interview, this is where it starts to get a little, would you say, fishy-ish with some of the answers, Tom?
I mean, as I say, I don't know if fishy is the right word, because the
suspect. The answers are suspect.
Sus. Let's do what the kids say. Sus.
It's sus. It's a bit sus.
All right, so here's what we're going to pick up. So this next clip is Bean unknowing before he cut Hack. This is what you were talking about before. Right. So listen to this, because this answer is interesting.
That's a tough one, Tim. You can second guess, whether that was the right move. And we'll definitely look at that going forward if this situation or a similar situation happens.
Oops. Well, I guess because we didn't know he was doing it, that means, well, oh well.
Well,
like what can you do? We did nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
Well, like we said, hey, Buffalo, worst comes to worst, not Barkley.
But I mean, you didn't have a plan B anyway?
Nope. He was the only punter on the team. They had determined that he had the starting job, even though they knew about what was going on.
But you know what, though? I can understand them in some aspects that you don't know the full situation. So maybe you don't know, but they knew about an investigation going on since October.
Right. And they only released him, and everything only came out because the girl, who's now 18, filed a civil lawsuit.
And you know what? In a way, she kind of helped you, because if this had come out mid-season, it would be an infinitely bigger distraction.
This would have been worse than the distraction of Colin Kaepernick.
So really, you should be thanking that woman, you absolute vultures.
Well, I don't know if I could blame the team 100% on this. It's not 100%.
No. There's plenty of blame to go around.
I was gonna say no. The Bills are at number 3 on my shit list here. Obviously, number 1 is Araiza, and the other 2, and number 2 is the university.
Yeah. The problem is.
Tom Albano's shit list is a top 10 list, literally.
The problem. So here's the problem. Even though they're technically not responsible, technically San Diego State and technically the Bills, they're going to get sued for this also.
Oh, they very well
could. Possibility.
No, they are. We know what happens when there's a rape allegation, because technically the Bills were technically holding criminal consent information.
Nick, if that's the case, you know who's going to get sued up the wazoo even more?
The NFL.
San Diego State.
Well, no, I said San Diego State. San Diego State and the Bills are going to get sued.
I'll say I think San Diego State's going to get it a lot worse. How is San Diego State? Where's San Diego State public safety or the San Diego State police, if anybody is assigned to the campus, if it's a campus police or not?
Oh wait, they have money, but they forgot to pay for these public safety.
It's just the fact that this happened under your watch, and you did everything you could to help him out because, again, precious resource. It's the money you get from the football program. Football is God.
And you know what? You know what's even worse? I haven't heard it yet. I'm sure we're going to hear it in a couple days. Well, she's technically responsible for herself, so she got herself into this situation.
She got drunk. She got drunk at a party because, therefore, she deserved it. Because
I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that's.
I was going to say. I think it is a question of why are you as a 17-year-old going to a campus party, but
a college party. Yeah.
Right, but to say that her rape was her own fault, what?
It's just stupid.
Well, wait a minute. When we get to the lawyer, you two are going to hit ceiling 1,000 when I play that for you. But my point is, there's no victory. This is going to end horribly. The NFL PR, I can't imagine what NFL PR offices.
Wait,
it's like
you think the NFL PR is going to go down even worse than it already is with the Watson?
Wait a minute. I'm about to make an epic proportional joke here.
Oh,
the NFL PR is like the scene in SpongeBob where was it SpongeBob's brain where all the little SpongeBobs are running around with the flights of paper.
We threw out his name.
We threw out his name.
We threw out his accountability.
What I was going to say is the state of the NFL PR is it's the same name as the team in Cleveland. It's Brown as shit.
Hey, wow, you beat Nick to it. Way to go. But all right, so let's keep going. So Bean, the GM, continues on, and basically someone asked about the agent. Now, so what's your response to whether the agent actually knew?
The agent did not know. And, our understanding without getting into it is that Matt learned sometime this summer that he was being investigated. And that's when he hired, I don't know the date, but I believe he hired his attorney sometime around the time when we found out.
All right. This is getting worse. This is getting worse.
All right, sorry. So that brings up two things. One, Bean and company could be BSing. And two, if they're not BSing, that looks even worse for San Diego State.
That just looks like plain stupid. That's what I would call it.
As I say, so either they're BSing or San Diego State is even worse. How are you not starting your investigation until he's already out of college?
Oh God! Because apparently it was past you's problem.
But wait, it gets even worse than that. Okay, so the media also asked. So, hey, Mr. GM. Who informed you first? Or did Araiza contacted you first? Now listen to this answer.
Yeah, this one was weird.
I beg you, if you believe this answer, you are the dumbest person I've ever heard in my life. Listen.
I don't remember the order of events on that one, Heather. It was around the same time. Once we got her accusations from her attorney, and then after we spoke to Matt about his version of events, he said yes, his parents had hired him an attorney, and so we contacted him as well.
What?
So yeah, this is the answer that made me like my eyebrows started to look like the rocks. Like what?
I mean, I'm trying to stay away from my sound effects board because this is a serious story. But I mean, the same time. First of all, in logic, when there's a legal case going on, both sides are not coming to you at the same time and saying something happened.
Exactly.
So what the hell are you saying?
Which I
don't know. I was confused by what he was answering. I'm confused by how he was answering.
Which is why I am loath to give the Bills the benefit of the doubt here.
But wait, Nick, it gets even better. So now now your favorite clip comes up about the NFL doing their part. So this answer was even better than the last one because McDermott and Bean both decide to discuss, oh, well, the NFL is going to do their part, so they'll figure it out.
The NFL is doing their part, so we'll follow their lead. It's a little bit of a different situation for them because it happened when he was not in the NFL. And so that was part of the roadblock too, but I think they're looking into it at this point now that it is a civil case, and we'll take their lead.
I would say, if I could, Tim, that I think you asked that question, that please understand that we are sympathetic to all involved. I think that is important.
Wait a minute. Now you're saying
I don't know. You have to say you're sympathetic to all involved.
Well, listen. So he is. So the GM Bean, he is right in that. Again, the NFL, can't really do too much since the incident happened in college. But then, why are you saying that the NFL is doing their part? Unless Nick goes furthermore into the question that you had before of can the NFL do something now that a civil lawsuit was filed while he was an NFL player? That's the question.
So if they're saying the NFL is investigating, that means that they obviously have looked into it, if that's what they're saying.
Well, here's my question. Where's the statement from the NFL then?
They're going to hide behind the shield. You know this. Come on. Hear no evil, see no evil.
I hate to say it, but he's right. You can set your watch to the fact that they cower.
That's the point. You really think Roger's going to incriminate himself in the middle of this?
I don't have a shield shield with face, so you know what? I'll just hold up my Sports Illustrated football preview with Joe Burrow on it. Joe, protect me.
See, we should see if we should go on Etsy and see if somebody's made like a Captain America shield with the NFL logo face on it.
All right, but let's continue on because now we're getting into the interesting parts of this. So, in the next clip, McDermott says that Araiza understands why he was cut. Now, before we play this, do you really think that he understands why he was cut?
So, part of me wants to say yes, but if he understood, why would he come out and make those statements that the facts of the case are not what they seem?
I want my day in court.
Which, by the way, reportedly, Araiza did that without anybody on the team, without Bean or McDermott knowing. So that's some good good being a man right there. Putting your throwing your team and everybody under the bus.
Well, when you commit a crime,
responsibility for your actions.
Well, wait a minute. When you commit a crime, you have to find somebody to throw under the bus. That's what they do. That's what bad criminals do. They all right, I'll blame this person, this person, this person.
Well, I'd say not necessarily that he's blaming them, but he's saying, the facts of this case, like he's saying, I don't need the bills. I don't need that. I'm going to say this on my own. I don't need
Wait a minute.
Go to a press person.
Would he be saying that if his contract was still alive with the Bills?
No.
Well, he released the statement around the time before. I thought he released the statement before he got caught.
No, but my point is, would he be saying I don't need the bills if his contract was not voided, basically? No. My point. So he's saying that because he's sour. Like every other sour player, like, what was it, over the last couple of days, 864 players were cut to make it to the final cuts. I'm not saying it's the same thing. Don't let me mistake that.
No. But it's sad because one of those, I don't know how many punters were cut of those 864. One of them should have Araiza's job at this point.
It's a good point.
Exactly. And look, it's pretty obvious that Homeboy doesn't think he did anything wrong.
Well, all right. So let's listen to McDermott.
It's Deshaun all over again.
Let's listen to McDermott because McDermott says, hey, Araiza understands why he got cut.
He's going through it right now. I mean, it's, he's got a lot going on, and he seemed to understand. And I think when we spoke again this morning, that he agreed that was probably the best thing. And I appreciate him understanding. And obviously an important decision. And one that I felt like was the right approach at the time.
What? I appreciate that he understood. After what went through the media between CBS News, NBC, ESPN, no. It's not money, Nick.
You know what I'm doing right now?
It's not money.
No. He's not doing money. I just realized what he's doing. The world's smallest violin.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you on that one, yes.
Oh, poor baby.
I mean, so...
I
And McDermott...
I wouldn't do the smallest violin for McDermott, but I certainly would do it for Araiza.
I mean, and McDermott... And Araiza was basically just trashing everybody left and right. Like, come on, man. Like Tom said earlier, be a man. Seriously.
Again, Nick, like I said before the clip, it's Deshaun Watson all over again.
And actually, let me clarify, because you've said this in the past when we've covered this story. Be a man doesn't mean be an asshole and try to hide stuff.
It's fucking responsibility.
Well, sometimes you have to clarify that, because some people think be a man is, well, I'm the big, strong guy.
Yeah, basically, be the machismo swinging dick kind of thing.
No, but listen, don't go making a lengthy statement, saying screw everybody and I did nothing wrong. If you're going to plead your innocence, 3-4 sentence statement, that's all, and then stay off of the fucking social media?
Not that I'm saying that him taking the honesty route would have saved him, but maybe if he basically tried to be a man and say, I'm an idiot, I'm a dumbass, I committed a crime.
No, Nick, you're right. You're right in that it would be a better situation, but obviously he's not going to incriminate himself. So
no, he's doubling down.
At the very least, don't. Well, that's the problem. Don't act like an asshole if you're going to plead your innocence.
Well, wait a minute. He's doubling down. That's what he's doing.
Right. Again, he's acting like an asshole, which you shouldn't be doing if you're pleading innocence.
Now, the last clip of this batch, and then we have a few more, and then we'll finally be through these clips. So this next one is about a conversation with the lawyers. Now, this had 3 parts to it, so I had to kind of break it down and put it all together in one. But I don't know if you remember this clip, Tom, but this was all about, like, we could have had more conversations with the lawyers, and maybe they could have found out more information. So let's take a listen to this. This one's interesting, too.
The boulders of it, of what was being accused. And as I said, if any of those boulders... if we were able to piece together were accurate, our decision was simple, to move on from Matt. And so we were using the resources that we had to try and find any answers that we could. And again, it was very hard. I mean, I don't know that any more conversations with him would have changed anything. Because that was those accusations. We were just trying to get the facts. We were trying not to rush to judgment. And obviously Matt's version was different. And you want to give everyone as much due process as you can. Again, we're not a judge and a jury.
We did take those very seriously. And I want everyone to understand that. That's a serious deal right there. So,
I mean, this whole thing is just...
I mean, if you could have had more conversations, why didn't you?
Because that would be too easy, as Nick would say.
Again, they're doing everything they can to shift the blame off them. And I'm not even saying that all the blame belongs to them, but at least some of it does.
Some of it does. I mean, ultimately, the ultimate blame and the ultimate finger wag, the shaming, goes to one person. Ultimately, most of it, if not all of it, goes to Matt Araiza. But the Bills don't look great here. But to the Bills' credit, I think, again, San Diego State looks even worse.
Oh, no. And when I play you these next couple of clips, Nick, you will definitely lose your mind when... Go
ahead.
No, but the reason I have to set these up. So one, let's finish the press conference, and then we'll go to CBS News with Araiza's lawyer. So the last clip from the press conference, and Tom, I think you saw this, it was about the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have this weird perception when people talk about culture of their franchise or their situation. Culture is such a weird word. Like, because culture is like I said, a perception. It's all what you make of it, right? So
the way they use it is they use it to deflect any kind of blame or personal culpability when something goes wrong.
Oh, it was the culture. It was the culture's fault.
It's basically, it's not my fault I robbed that woman. Blame society.
So
It's the blame society defense.
So listen to what the Bills had to say about their culture.
Our culture that we rally around, and culture handles adversity, and it'll just be day by day, John. It's not easy. It's hard. We're going to do the best we can do.
Oh, yeah, because that's a typical answer. Well, we can do the best we can do, and that's our culture. Well, as they say, that's baseball, Susan.
I mean,
you know what? That's not baseball, but that is football.
That's football, Roger. I mean, this press conference was a joke.
No,
Sorry.
Again, they actually handled this better than some of the other press conferences out there, which is kind of sad. I mean,
Kind of really sad.
I mean, really, it just goes to show this whole case just how bad the NFL and the Haslams all screwed up the Deshaun ruling and the Deshaun press conference that happened right after, where Jimmy Haslam's calling Deshaun a good man and that he deserves a second chance.
Fuck Matt Araiza, so basically fuck him.
Well, all right. So we're done with the press conference, but you want to hear from Matt Araiza's lawyer?
You know what?
But go ahead.
All right. So there's two clips here. So his lawyer, and I can't remember his name at the moment. If I'm trying to look at the clips to see if I can see it, I can't see it at the moment. But he went on CBS News, the national news platform, I think on the weekend or Sunday morning.
Kerry Armstrong.
Kerry Armstrong. Okay. And he answered two questions in a very, very legalese type of way. And the first one is, it has to do with Araiza's lawyer on the girl's age. Now, we discussed this before we came on here, how if you lie about your age, then the perception is out there that you're older than you are, right? That's what people were saying. And so listen to this answer. This is going to drive all of us crazy.
He's an alleged victim. And secondly, no, there is a defense in California. Let me just briefly talk about that. In California, if the girl is either 16 or 17 years old, and the man has what they call a reasonable good faith belief that she was 18 at the time or older, that's a perfect defense in California. Mm-hmm. And I have witnesses lined up to say that this young lady was telling everybody at the party that she was 18 years old, that she went to a local community college, not high school, and that her friends were also saying she was 18 years old. So how else would Matt Araiza think that she was under 18 when she's telling everybody, and her friends are telling everybody that she's 18 at the party?
Wait, guys. Sorry, I have a big problem with this. Because, yes, maybe there is something to do with the age. But you know what, guys? Raping somebody at 16 and 17 and 18 and 19 and 20 is still rape.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. Do you have any explanation for the bruises that she left?
Well, wait a minute.
Because even if she was, I mean, do you have any explanation as to why that happened?
Wait
How
a
she
second.
got so hurt?
Wait, time out. So when someone says no, that means no. No.
Precisely, ladies and gentlemen. Well, precisely.
Oh, God. All right.
I really would love to know if that guy's soul started leaving. Well, he's
But wait a minute.
He's a lawyer. He doesn't have one.
Wait. Wait a second. So he's saying that because she could have lied about her age, it led to a misperception.
Yeah, because lying about your age is, the perfect punishment is rape. Just perfect.
I'm sorry.
You lied about your age, therefore you deserve it.
I'm sorry, but
Look at all the failure.
Fucking hell.
I mean, failure. F. Where's Mr. Crocker? F. I'm serious.
No. He does. No. He deserves worse than that.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
There you go.
Actually, you know what? He deserves a super F.
It's an F for loser.
Yeah, that too. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but there's one more clip, and this one takes the cake. Okay, so his lawyer is asked, "Do you think that Matt Araiza did anything illegal?" Now, take a listen to this.
He regrets ever going over to the house, obviously, but when you get down to it, I mean, he didn't do anything illegal, so he regrets having to go through this, but he doesn't regret any actions with her because what he did with her was totally legal, totally proper, at least regarding the information that he had in his head at the time. Now, what happened back in the bedroom of the house with potentially the other defendants, I don't know. You'll have to talk to them or their attorneys regarding that.
So wait, he's saying wait. He's saying basically, oh, what he did with her was consensual and fine. Maybe it was the other two who raped her.
But wait a minute. Wait. You did nothing illegal?
No, but
I don't know what
Nick.
what
What he's saying,
if it was those other two guys? huh?
right, Nick. He's saying basically he's throwing the other two under the bus. He's saying, yeah, that they did it, not my client.
Wait a
not
minute.
mine.
I hope he doesn't represent those two guys as well.
If he does,
Hey, you know what?
No, he doesn't because he said you have to talk to their attorneys.
Well, it would have been worse. Hey, you know what? I'm making more money off Araiza. I'll just throw those two guys under the bus. By the way, we're not joking about this to make a joke out of it.
No. I'm saying this seems like such a pathetic defense. Again, guys, rape, regardless of what age it is rape.
Exactly.
I can't wrap my mind around this whole thing. His lawyer is an idiot. Like, he's probably the dumbest lawyer I've ever seen. I don't know if he's Tony Busby dumb, but
I think he's cleared the threshold.
You think so?
I think so.
I mean, saying that he did nothing illegal, that's pretty... All right, fine. He clears my Tony Busby barometer. Okay. That's my barometer. If you do something dumber than Tony Busby, you're dumb.
So, guys, let's wrap this up because we've been going on this for about 50 minutes now.
Holy crap. Whoa.
This is a situation that's one that we're going to have to watch. Again, Bills don't look great, but it's sad to say when they'll still come out looking cleaner than say the Cleveland Browns have done because Deshaun Watson is still on that team and still getting paid all his money. Again, I think if Araiza was a quarterback or running back, he wouldn't be getting cut. He would be getting a second chance. And lastly, again, San Diego State, where are you? What's going on? How did we get here? Why?
Because they don't care. They're too busy worrying about the $7 billion deal that college football just signed with all the networks to make what? Let me hear it.
Money.
They don't care. If they could pay to make this go away, they would. I guarantee you, if the lawyer from the girl came and they said, just give me money, they would do it. Not saying that we're on that same page. Don't get me wrong. This is bad. But if the school, basically said, we'll give you a couple $1 million, go away, they would do it.
So, again, it's a situation we're going to have to watch. Obviously, a little different of circumstances considering he's not in the NFL anymore. But
by the way, when you watch the show and we go on and cover a topic for as long as we do, it's because it's a serious allegation of many sorts. Right. That's our show. Like, there are a lot of shows that like to go into the nuts and bolts of sports, which we do. Don't get me wrong. But we like to cover the investigative side of sports.
It's true. All right. But let's get into the sport side of sports. So before we go any more into before we get into more into the football side of things, there has been news that has developed over the last 48 to 72 hours That being that RJ Barrett and the Knicks have agreed to a 4-year, $120 million rookie contract extension, which by all accounts means that it's pretty likely that talks between the Knicks and Jazz over Donovan Mitchell are once again dead.
Boy, do I feel stupid now that I made that statement in the last episode.
Which
where I basically said, I'm going to turn on the crystal ball for the third straight week, and I said, watch, James Dolan, the handler, which Nick doesn't know about from last episode, is going to basically trade Barrett away to get Mitchell, because that's all
there
he
was
does.
a report, Nick, that came out actually mid-show from SNY, mid-recording, that basically said that all of a sudden decision makers in the Knicks organization were going to consider putting RJ Barrett in the deal. And we said, we know who the decision makers really is. And you can drop the S from the end of that word.
Exactly. And we're talking about a man who wouldn't know a good business decision if it bit him in the ass, and probably could not find the way to making a good basketball team with both hands
and yet
and a flashlight.
Yes, and yet they have decided to give Barrett the extension.
Which let me at least say my piece, and then yeah, I'll let Mr. NBA take the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Am I an idiot for thinking that, you know, RJ Barrett still kind of he's still good. He's still got good potential. He's still just a kid. And he again could be a potential building block.
By the way,
what could be's in the NBA get paid like that?
Well, Nick, Johnny is from Game On, Johnny Montalbano. You can hear him every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Plug. He is basically all for having RJ Barrett on this team, and he said RJ Barrett was the one piece that they could not trade.
Honestly, I feel the same, because you know what? Am I still stupid for thinking that maybe Donovan Mitchell could still come to this team? Am I hoping against hope?
Well, if you believe Alan Hahn, who was reporting. Actually, Nick, you start to say your piece, and I'll get the full Alan Hahn deal up.
I don't see how this would work at the moment. First of all, getting Mitchell, because the Jazz basically came out and said that they wanted RJ Barrett. So now you basically tabled that. By the way, just because the Knicks wanted to look like they were the winners in this whole situation, Leon Rose came out and put a this past Monday deadline, on making the trade being done. Now,
we've seen in sports where deadlines are put in place and things still happen. Hi, Rob Manfred.
Yeah, I have no answer for that. But my point is, I have a fun fact. I'm stealing from Game On here. That I have a fun fact. Okay, do you know who the last number one first round pick the Knicks signed?
Who?
Charlie Ward.
Oh my God.
Charlie Ward.
Jesus.
Because the Knicks got into such a mode that they trade their first round picks to get names.
Holy Christ, that is the saddest thing I've heard.
And by the way, that's before all of our times.
Oh God. You know what? I even need to Google that name, because I'm not even sure.
Okay. So Alan Hahn reported yesterday on a realistic package for Mitchell. He says he told Michael K. Show Fournier, Grimes, 5 picks, and of those picks, 3 or 4 would be unprotected.
Believe it or not, that's not a bad deal for the Knicks.
If that is true, you make that deal. Hell. If you even have to throw in Obi Toppin, fine, do it.
Well, let me throw one more wrinkle into the game. Do you remember when Durant wanted to go to the Suns, and they pretty much, the Nets wanted Devin Booker?
The money, the rookie contract extension.
No, not even that. The rule is once you sign an extension, you can't be traded for the first year. That's the rule. Now, that's why KD basically didn't go anywhere, but that's a rule.
But Nick, I think that actually furthers Johnny's point, which if you can listen to on the Monty Moment that he put up yesterday, so go find out on our page. Basically, it's a win-win-win for the Knicks because either they get to keep RJ Barrett, or next year if Donovan Mitchell is Mitchell under contract next season with
Yes.
the Jazz, then the Jazz are gonna have to pay up even more if they're gonna want Mitchell.
We talked about it last week. It's like all the way through 25, 26.
Right, that's right. So either the Knicks are going to keep Barrett and they'll be fine. They'll keep. I shouldn't say they'll be fine because of the trustworthiness of the Knicks, but they'll continue to do what they've been doing, or they end up with both RJ Barrett and Donovan Mitchell on the team, or like if Alan Hahn's package goes through, or if they still want Barrett and both Barrett and Mitchell remain on their teams next year, the Knicks are going to say, well, since we gave him the rookie contract extension, we want Mitchell and something else.
I mean, as you guys say, I'm the NBA guy of this show, and I pay attention to almost every team in the league. Now, this is no bias to New York or whatever. Right now, the Knicks are not a playoff team. Sorry.
You know what? The thought occurred to me, Tom, when the word do what the Knicks have continue doing what they have been doing. When those words left your mouth, it all of a sudden occurred to me like a bolt of lightning.
Like the building of the young core.
What the fuck are they even doing?
Well, I mean, the building of a young core.
Is that what they're doing? Because to my two eyes, what they're doing is taking 2 steps forward and 17 steps back. Am I correct in assuming?
No.
I don't agree with you. I actually think...
Nick Morgasen, I kind of lean more towards Johnny's perspective on the Knicks in that I think they make I guess it depends on if you consider the play-in tournament as a playoff. Because I think
he said if they got Donovan Mitchell, they would make the play-in tournament.
Okay.
That's what he said. And I agree with that. I don't even think they're a strong contender with Donovan Mitchell and RJ Barrett.
Okay, so I'll say this. I think they're good enough to have just missed the playoff tournament. I think they'll be 1 or 2 games behind the playoff tournament.
Let's put it this way. Over the last 5 to 7 years, the Knicks were unwatchable in every way, shape, or form.
And I think that's the only thing here is that having somebody like an RJ Barrett and a potential young core, all of a sudden raises an eyebrow of, maybe I will sit and watch a Knicks game one night.
Let's put it this way. They're watchable now. Okay. You're going to have guys that have the fundamentals. They're not old. They're not averaging 37, 38.
Believing what I say, they're not good. I mean, they're not great, but they're a watchable team now.
They're a watchable team now. Would I really watch Derrick Rose every night? No. Or would I watch some of the other odd players?
No, but if they're a national game, maybe
they have a lot of national games this year.
If you're a Knicks Hawks and a Knicks Nets, yeah, I'd sit and watch. Knicks Sixers on Christmas, sure.
Well, yeah, and believe it or not, and I'll say it again. I said it on a minute. I'll say it again. I actually think that's one of the better games on Christmas Day.
It's a lot better than old man LeBron and the Lakers taking on the Mavs
and lazy Luka.
Why? So why? Because why should Laker fans be the only ones to get coal in their stockings?
Good point. But all I can say is this is a good deal for the Knicks. They actually got him for a good deal here. Yeah. I mean, but they need to build around this guy.
That's going to be the next step. That's going to be the next test for Dolan and company.
But I'll tell you right now, they took themselves out of the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes now that he's under contract because that's who they wanted.
You know what? And fine. We'll just if you continue to build around the young core, maybe you don't need a Donovan Mitchell.
How sick would it be if he ended up in a Nets uniform?
Oh, Christ.
Don't stroke your own ego there, Morgasen.
No, I'm not even saying that for my sake.
Because then we'll find out he's not vaccinated, and he got some immunocompromised treatment in Belize or something.
What?
We find out he somehow decided to create his own COVID vaccine from the strained blood of goats or something.
But you know what? If that happened, he would be the one chasing Kyrie around, so it'd be pretty funny.
I'm gonna get you.
During the game is going on, but it's 5-on-3 because 2 of the Nets are missing, and it's Donovan Mitchell chasing around Kyrie Irving with the
giant hypodermic needle.
Just be careful; it might make him magnetic. All right. I think
it might make him fall off of the earth.
Because it's flat. Don't you know?
How many times are you gonna go back on that joke?
It's out there. It's out there, Nick, forever and ever. And
you
ever
are,
and ever.
You are going to have to just grin and bear it, my friend, because flat man, flat man.
All I could say is, though, it'll be interesting to watch New York basketball this year as a whole.
I don't know if for the right reasons.
Let's put it this way. We're going to put a counter on the Kyrie Irving's game. That should be an over-under in Vegas, like to bet on it. How many games is he going to play? I'd put the over-under at like 30, like 35.
Yeah, they're watchable in the same way watching a guy's house burn down is watchable.
Ouch! Oof. Well, I guess you could say Kyrie Irving already burnt the Barclays Center down anyway.
No, he just burnt bridges.
It's a good point.
All right, we now move on. Let's go back to football. Some funny stories here. Well, this one's a funny story. Aaron Donald at the center of a brawl, a whole joint practice at the Rams-Bengals game, and you see him taking helmets. He has 2 helmets, and he's swinging them around.
No, basically... We sounded the alarms when Aaron Donald decided to grab a Bengals helmet and start like beating somebody like a WWE match.
I mean, it's a little late for SummerSlam, but
Clash of the Castles on Saturday, so maybe Aaron Donald's trying to get some attention there.
No, I want money. I want money in the bank.
Do you hear him, Triple H? He wants to be part of the WWE now.
God, I mean.
You know what? Some people want to throw him out of the NFL for that.
You can't. I mean, and you know what's... And by the way, do you have that banner for Roger is back or whatever?
Oh, you mean good old Roger Goodell strikes again?
Yeah, so...
Oh, yes.
Basically, he came out and the NFL offices came out basically said, you know what? We don't have rules for the NFL preseason, so you know what? Rams, it's on you if you want to give them a punishment.
Well, I mean, technically, they don't have they don't have really any rules for the preseason. I mean, it definitely looks bad. But here's the problem, Nick. Here's the problem. How many times have we heard about brawls at these joint practices?
A lot.
Hell, we've heard brawls at Giants practices, like not even joint practices, Giants solo team practices.
No, but here's the issue. And for some reason, it's because coaches know coaches from other teams because they used to coach on those franchises. So they're like, you know what? Let's get together. Let's have a practice because we're not going to play in the preseason games.
I think, well, because not the main players that you want to see. It's always going to be the guys who are trying to make the team. Honestly, can we just put a limit on joint practices?
How about we just don't have them?
Honestly, yeah. Why do we need them?
How about just fuck the preseason and not have it?
Well, you still need.
I mean, there are plenty of NFL players that would definitely.
Nick,
Tom,
Nick,
go ahead.
You still need some form of preseason. You still need some form of training camp because what happened that one season? What was it? 2011. After there was a lockout and there was a very limited preseason. The football play at the start was
kind of terrible.
But you know what, though? Tom Brady doesn't play. Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. All the quarterbacks don't play in the preseason. What's the point of having a preseason?
The Davis Webb experience? I don't know.
Wow, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I don't get me wrong, Nick. I'd be very willing to dock it down another game. I'd do a 2-game preseason.
What was it, 6 the past couple of years, and now it's 3?
No. It was 4 or 5 if you were doing the Hall of Fame. I thought they were going to knock it down to 2 when they added the extra regular season week, but for whatever reason, I guess it's 3 now because 1 and 1. But
those games are not watchable. They're not watchable. You can't watch preseason.
But you can't say that when Lions versus Steelers was an absolutely national, had a massive audience watch. Guys, the Lions-Steelers game on Sunday, that last preseason game for the NFL this preseason, outdrew all 5 of last year's NBA Christmas games.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. If you look at and I was talking to Kyle, one of our podcasts on the network and who works in TV, he was basically telling, and I knew this for a fact, what are the top 5 or 10 biggest audience watches for the whole year? Do you know?
Football.
The Super Bowl is one of them.
Football.
It's the top 10 most watched are NFL every single year. Over news, over the Oscars and the Grammys, and not that anyone cares about those because they're politically motivated. But my point is that the NFL is the most watched thing, period. Not just sports.
Which, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is why so many people just don't seem to care. There is no accountability for when players are accused of sexual assault or gang rape or DUI or DWI or any other kind of
Domestic violence
or anything that they'll term misbehavior. It's because people love football. We're all slaves to it.
Now, let me say one more thing. Did you really?
We are too, the three of us.
Did you really think Sean McVay was going to discipline Aaron Donald?
No.
Okay, there's your answer. Moving on.
Nobody did.
As we said, guys, when we were going over all the Deshaun stuff, the NFL, no matter what happened with Deshaun, the NFL still had a culture problem. That there are people in the NFL, players, coaches, even if you want to stretch to Goodell himself, that helped create this culture problem at the NFL.
Well, culture's always been a problem in the NFL, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's Michael Vick and dogs, or what is it? Was it Ray Lewis and
Ray Lewis and covering up a murder? Or
right. So culture's a problem throughout the whole NFL. And then the sick part is they somehow managed to have a whole Hall of Fame career and no one cares.
Correct. All right. Speaking of Hall of Fame career, Tom Brady. So he addressed his 11-day absence from the team. So we talked about it last week, this whole philosophy, somebody on Reddit saying, his dates matched up with the Masked Singer taping dates, so maybe he was on the Masked Singer. There were rumors that he and Giselle might have been, let's say, on the outs. Maybe Giselle might have been a little pissed at him for his 40-day retirement, that instead he decided to come back instead of spending time with the family. So there was reports he and the family were on vacation because he owed them this after, basically taking back his word that he was going to retire. And how did he address it? By saying, I'm 45, man. I got a lot of shit going on.
And I have an answer, and Nick's not going to be happy about it.
RELAX.
That is basically the Tom Brady version of that. He basically did do the RELAX thing.
I mean, basically, he's like, I have a ton of shit going on in my life. Well, so does everybody else.
Which, I mean, well, first of all, I wouldn't expect him to be on The Masked Singer because we all know that Tom Brady would never wear a mask.
What are you talking about? I think he'd totally be on The Masked Singer.
Well, I mean, he did imply on that one tweet that he was wearing a mask.
You completely missed that joke.
The stupid motorcycle thing you're talking about? That was a joke. Yeah. That one went so far over people's heads they didn't understand it. Like he was doing that on purpose because he knew people thought he was on The Masked Singer.
Tom Brady can be a troll on Twitter. Have you not known that?
No, he's a terrible troll.
He could have 6 or 7 burner accounts. You'll never know.
See, Kevin Durant and Tom Brady should have a contest on Twitter trolling and see who wins.
No, Kevin Durant would win that by a mile.
Actually, you could throw LeBron James in there as well.
KD would still win that by a mile.
I can't tell you who would win, but I'll tell you who would lose. All of us.
That's a good point. I mean, but the one thing I'll say on this is I hope he's on The Masked Singer. That would make my day.
Well, I mean,
I'm gonna steal your opinion again. It's gonna be just as big as Rudy Giuliani being on The Masked Singer.
Oh my!
Well, I was gonna say, Joe Buck was, Gronk, I believe, was
Joe Buck's timing was great because it was the last thing he did as he walked out the door from Fox to ESPN.
Yeah.
So good timing, Fox. Good job.
All right. Let's talk one baseball story. It was actually pretty big. It was probably the second biggest story of this week prior to RJ Barrett signing with the Knicks. Julio Rodriguez. You thought RJ Barrett signing an extension was that? I think you need to, you hit it a couple of more times. probably the most convoluted extension I have ever heard of in
So,
my life.
Let me see if I understand this correctly. Okay, so he got like a 6 or 7 year extension first for $120 million, right?
So I'm trying to pull up the. Okay, I have the Jeff Passan story right now from ESPN.
By the way, if all said and done, it would be the most historic extension in the history of baseball.
And he hasn't completed his rookie season yet.
That seems to be a pattern, doesn't it?
So I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but isn't it supposed to, the max amount it's supposed to be worth would be $455 million?
No, 470.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. So here's how it works. Here's how it works, everybody. The base deal is $120 million, and it will take him through the 2029 season. However, following 2028, the Mariners have the right to a team option, which could be for 8 years or 10 years, depending on how he.
By the way, take that in for a second. Team option for 8 to 10 years.
So no, it's a team option, and the team has the option to choose which option that they want to go with, and that's based on how he does with
MVP escalators.
MVP,
so this, ladies and gentlemen, is probably one of the most team-friendly deals you've ever seen.
Well, here's all the caveats, Nick. If it's a 8-year deal, it goes up. Let's see. If Rodriguez maxes out his MVP escalator, Seattle's option would be for 10 years and $350, which would take the deal to $470 million. The lowest level it can be is the 8 years and $200 million on top of the original 120, keeping him. So basically, J-Rod will be a Mariner through 2037 or 2039 with one of these team options.
But wait a minute. Did we talk about the player option?
No! So if the Mariners say, no, you know what, we don't want to do this, after the 2029 season, that he can say, you know what, no, I'm going to exercise an option that you have to keep me for 5 more years and give me $90 more million.
Think about that. Player option, 5 years, $90 million.
And if he says no, he's a free agent, obviously, and he still would not have hit 30 yet.
Well, it's on his 30th birthday, but yes.
It's on his 30th birthday.
He's 21 right now.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Mariners, sure, I mean, they locked into a great player because he definitely has the makings of a superstar. But again, look back through the history of the Seattle Mariners. They have players like this. Your Alex Rodriguez's, your Jay Buhner's, your Ken Griffey Jr.'s, your Felix Hernandez's, your Randy Johnson's. And you know how many championships they ended up with?
0!
Goose friggin' eggs!
How many AL pennants have they ended up with?
0! Actually, Nick, you left out one player from that. Oh, those heavy contracts. It happens to be one that we know that we let get away because he was too expensive.
Oh, Robbie Cano, what do you know?
Well, Robbie didn't start his career with the Seattle Mariners.
No, but I'm just saying, like, talking about big name contracts.
Oh, big name contracts,
I'm talking about your homegrown guys.
Okay, homegrown.
So now, the onus is now on the Mariners to make sure this does not end up as the second coming of Felix Hernandez. Now, you got to build yourself a team, don't you? You got yourself a gold-plated brick.
Wait a minute. What's wrong with Felix Hernandez?
They wasted his prime.
Nick. I'm saying, basically, I'll put it in the terms that I usually say. In other words, what Nick Fodera is saying is we don't need another Mike Trout or Bryce Harper where they're on a team that's not going to get anywhere.
Shohei Ohtani.
Well, ironically, all money.
Which, again, you can't blame Julio Rodriguez for going for that extension because it's
think about it, Nick,
and it's a dick ton of money. So
no, I was going to say, Nick, the fact that the Mariners are offering this to somebody who hasn't completed their first season yet. He's not even in season 2. He's not even experiencing the dreaded sophomore slump.
Wait a minute. 108 games. 108 games.
Right.
I've heard of counting your chickens before they hatch, but this is counting your chickens before they've even been conceived.
So, no, but my point is, imagine, what happens if by 2037, or hell, if by the time the options start to come up in 28, 29, the Mariners aren't a good team anymore?
What if in year 3 or 4 he blows out his knee and he's never the same player again?
All right, but Nick, that's a fallacy
I
of predetermined outcome.
I know it's a fallacy of predetermined
Nick,
outcome, but you need to keep these things in mind.
Right, Nick. No. What Nick Morgasen, what he's saying is something that I thought you would have been saying. That this is, it's great for Julio Rodriguez.
Yes, I agree.
And it can be great for the Mariners, but it's also a risk for the Mariners.
Well, again, this goes back to the theory that the 10-year contract does not work. I've said this a million times.
Still the 15-year contract. It won't work.
No. I'm not agreeing.
No. That's right. The Mariners are saying, okay, so it's proven these 10-year contracts don't work. Okay, here's a 15-year contract.
No, you know what? We'll take it up a notch. We'll take it up a notch and give him 15 years. But
They are living in the year 3000.
Well, yeah, but my point is the Mariners are going to come out and say, well, you know what? It's not a 10-year contract. It's a 7-year or 8-year contract.
Which, again, semantics, jibber jabber, mumbo jumbo, denial. And, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, you better hope that Julio Rodriguez is everything that you want him to be and that he can be.
Well,
because you don't want another Trout or Shohei Ohtani or Felix Hernandez.
Nick, no, it's on both. Julio Rodriguez better be who they think that he is, that he's proving to be this season. And the Mariners, it's on them to build around this guy responsibly.
It's not going to happen because
you also don't want him to the team to tank, have to trade him, and then he has success somewhere else. The A-Rod effect, I like to call it.
Yeah, but at least A-Rod actually eventually won a championship with the Yankees.
But that's precisely my point. He won his championship, but it was not in Mariner green.
I'll just end by saying this: Super Mario ain't gonna come and save this team.
The problem is they were probably on mushrooms.
Well, Nick understood where I was going with that.
So instead of a contract, we're just going to give you a solid gold diamond-encrusted Nintendo Switch with a preloaded copy of Pikmin 3. Enjoy!
Oh, I thought you... Wait a minute. I thought you were going to go a different direction.
Oh, no. The solid gold toilet comes with every contract of 20 years or more.
Sorry.
You should have read the fine print on that one, Morgasen.
Sorry, Mariners, but your MVP is in another castle.
No,
Wait, were you singing the freaking Zelda song?
No, that's the game over. When you run out of lives.
Mario Brothers.
Game over.
What kind of millennial are you that you don't know that?
Come on!
I got scared for a second. I thought he was going to start singing the opening theme. I thought that's what
Damn. You call yourself a 90s kid.
No, you were. If I heard the actual music and not just
Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I got to take this down a notch. So we're going to go to the NBA, but I don't like the story that we're going to first. So Vanessa Bryant has been awarded $16 million after a battle with Los Angeles County over crash photos that were taken involving her late husband Kobe and late daughter Gianna.
By the way, this was totally right how this outcome came out. And why the hell, as firefighters, as police, why are you taking pictures?
Because they are because they're morbid bastards, and they really just they don't care that was. It's just, hey, look whose body I got a picture of, and apparently they were showing the pictures of their mangled corpses
They put it online. They put them online.
They put it on. Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, why do you think she's suing? She found the pictures.
And apparently they were showing the people who did it said they were they were showing it to their coworkers in bars, which you vultures. You
vultures, no, vultures, you sickos. So
you sick and twisted individuals is what I would say.
Listen. I get some people are going to want to see the photos out of the morbid curiosity. It reminds me, Nick Fodera, you might know this better than Nick Morgasen, of all the stuff they talk about with Owen Hart and about how the tape of his fall is in the studios over at WWF. It's like, do not duplicate, view, or destroy.
It's locked in a vault somewhere.
Like, I get the morbid curiosity, but are you really going to want to see it? Because after you see it the first time, you're going to be so sick. So why would you want to see it?
Why would you? First of all, do you not care? Well, it's obvious they don't care about what they didn't care what Vanessa Bryant thought.
Of course they didn't care. If they cared, they would have followed the law first of all.
Honestly, for the anguish that LA County, what they did, they should have been paying her 10 times more than what she got.
All right, but you knew that. First of all, they probably settled on this amount to be fair. I don't know.
Regardless.
First of all, can I say one thing? This has nothing to do with money.
I hope whoever posted those photos is out of job.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Are they still in the job working?
I would hope not. Because, if you're... Because God forbid those morbid fucks are ever around a car crash or God forbid somebody's house burns down, they're going to have some very interesting images to show at the fucking work Christmas party.
And by the way, you know how they say if you do it once, you do it again? Mm-hmm. That's what would happen. Let me put it this way. LA County, which has been joked on for many years, including in Family Guy, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they just proved themselves to be a big fat joke.
Whatever you feel about Kobe Bryant and his legacy, and believe me, the man's legacy is complicated as they come, and that's to say the absolute least. I made my point about that when he passed away, but this is without dignity. This is brazen cruelty, morbid, brazen,
and you're forcing Vanessa Bryant to have to relive,
the emotional trauma that, and whatever you thought of, she doesn't deserve that.
She doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve that. Kobe Bryant and his body didn't deserve that. Gianna Bryant and her body didn't freaking deserve that.
By the way, underage body, first of all.
That was going to be my next point. Underage body. Jesus Christ.
Now, I understand there's a difference between like they're taking pictures for evidence and they're like doing all that stuff, but that's not what this is.
Okay, not when you're uploading it online.
That's clearly not what this is.
So here's the thing, and I'm not judging.
And if you're not the coroner for LA County, you shouldn't be seeing those photos anyway. That's not who they're for. That's who they're for. The coroner and only the coroner's office. Maybe for the police department investigating the crash.
Right.
My end point on this is I don't think this is really about the money, even though I think they awarded this amount of money so that the LA County or no county ever does this again, in my opinion. But
it's LA County basically admitting that they fucked her.
No, it's not LA County. It's the court system that found them.
It's the court system admitting culpability without actually admitting culpability.
I don't know about that, but they're trying to make a point out of LA County so that no other police department does this to anybody ever again.
And you know what? And let that be a lesson to anybody, to any enterprising first responder that happens to stumble upon the body of a famous person.
And by the way, what kind of sick fuck do you have to be to take pictures of a Kobe Bryant? Or forget it. Say it's not a celebrity. Anybody who dies.
I honestly could not tell you. Unless you are training to be a forensic pathologist or
Nick, that's no excuse. That's not even an excuse.
I mean, for training purposes.
No, what he's saying is basically there are only certain, like he said before, there are only certain eyes that should be viewing a corpse.
It's not supposed to be the pictures of dead
the three people of us should not be viewing that.
It's not meant to be passed around like a fucking party favor.
Well, I told you. I think that if I remember correctly, not that I saw them, but they were put up online, and that's what caused the.
But that's the point. It should not be online. It should not be for mass consumption.
And you know what the sick part is? I don't think they brought up charges. I think they just sued for an investigation.
And what's your countersuit? What's your countersuit to that? What's your counter argument to that?
There's not.
You can't.
There's no argument.
Oh, they didn't know what they were looking at? Oh, they just thought it was funny, boys.
Or Nick, my favorite one. Oh, I didn't know what I was doing.
I didn't know what I was doing.
I thought I was uploading to the system, and I accidentally uploaded to my Facebook. Oops,
my finger slipped.
Oops, I pushed the button on the computer that said "Go viral."
Press any key. What's the any key?
What the hell is the any key? Oh God. Oh,
all right. Let's talk about
dickweeds.
Yes. Let's talk about the Lakers now on the basketball things. Russell Westbrook, after all this time, is likely going to be traded or cut. Eat that money, Lakers.
$48 million of eating that money.
Eat that money just like you're eating money when you have to pay LeBron James for this extension.
Actually, you know what, Lakers? You get it too.
Congratulations, dickweeds. And it's not, and they don't even get to enjoy eating that money. They don't even get to chew and savor and swallow. They have to basically just quaff it down like a duck. You know, man. You know how a duck eats. How it goes like, that's exactly what they have to do with Russell Westbrook and his salary.
Wow. Don't if I and I'm not going to make this joke, but you could totally picture what I was picturing in my head right there.
What? That's how a duck swallows.
No, Tom totally got where I was going there. You did, Nick.
Oh, I know where you were going, you sick bastard. Not everything I say is supposed to be a double entendre.
Well, that's the problem. Nick and I, who do be on the bench again on Saturdays at 3 p.m. He spends enough time with me during the week.
Bugging more. Okay, Taurean Prince is arrested at Miami International Airport over what was called dangerous drugs.
When are drugs not dangerous?
So, bath salts? That's the only thing I can think of. That weird synthetic weed you get at Southern gas stations that make you apparently able to see things that aren't there.
Well, all I can think of. Wait. All I can think of is smoke weed every day.
Well, funny enough, his charges are unlawful carrying of a weapon, possession of marijuana, and possession of a controlled substance. So,
God damn it! I need that sound effect.
Marijuana and crack or marijuana cocaine or something.
Well, no, they were said. They said apparently. Wait. They said apparently these were like dangerous drugs.
Well,
somebody was having themselves an interesting Wednesday.
Well, what you say? Dangerous drug? What's dangerous drugs? I need to know more.
I don't know.
What the hell was he doing?
I mean, but they said that apparently he's had like prior charges or something.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking it up, but I don't know what I'm going to find out. I'm afraid that my computer might explode.
Well, I think I'm going to explode with our last story here.
Well, wait. Oh, wait. I think I found it. Taurean Prince is being held on no bond due to charge involving, quote, dangerous drugs following an arrest in Miami from a nightclub, apparently. I don't know. Doesn't say the name, though. God forbid.
Yeah, exactly my point. All right. I can't believe I even have to do this last story, but I'm entertained two of you. I couldn't even think of a way to put it on the freaking banner here. I just had to. I'm defeated.
So I'm just gonna wait a minute. I'm just gonna warn you that I put the video out on our Twitter account at ETB Sports, and it's over 10,000 Twitter impressions.
How the hell did we not get flagged for that?
Well, because someone else, someone video grabbed it. Someone video grabbed it, put it on Twitter, and then, of course, the magic of embedding on Twitter.
Well, so I did not get a chance to see said Instagram story.
Well, if you go to our Twitter account at ETB Sports. You can go see it.
Well, you didn't exactly see a full video, but you heard certain noises. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I didn't listen to it. I don't need to know.
I'm even talking about this.
It's better to give than to receive, or he's just checked out.
Tom, I hate to say this, but the tweet is almost up to 13,000 Twitter impressions.
And every Twitter impression is just another needle in his back.
Are you done yet?
No.
I mean, you know what? Considering that this is the least controversial thing that Conor McGregor has done in the past
By the way,
months.
I can say this since he's not listening. I guess you could say you could give this a proper 12. He didn't even hear it.
No, I didn't even hear it.
It's good because I made a joke. Too bad.
Is there anything else you want to say about the story before I close it?
Well, can I just ask one question? Do we actually see him fighting again?
I mean,
who fucking knows?
Oh my god!
It gives new meaning. It gives new meaning to the words "kiss me, I'm Irish."
No, gives new meaning to the phrase "kiss me arse."
I just can't believe how well this tweet did. Almost 13,000 Twitter impressions, almost 3,100 engagements.
Yeah, and the next thing he's going to announce his proper 12 line of breakfast cereals.
I would try that. I would try that. I would try that on a video.
I still have not tried proper 12 yet.
What?
I
haven't either.
It probably tastes like dirt and peat moss. So
I can't believe I'm even going to make this, but apparently somebody else had a proper 12 taste, but that's beside the point.
Oh, what? What are you talking about? Oh, that's the joke I made. You didn't hear it.
No. And the only reason I even got it was because you made that joke on social media.
Right, because I tagged you in a quote tweet of it.
Look, if you guys are going to argue about this, we might as well do it off camera.
Well, I think we've had enough for one episode, but before we go, I'll let you make your comment in a second. Yes, go ahead. Make that comment.
Okay. Tomorrow, 12 Eastern, Empty the Bench NFL season preview for 2022. It's going to be a crossover show with Empty the Bench and Game On. All of us sports freaks are going to be talking about all 32 teams. We're going to be giving our takes on who's winning the divisions, who are the most overrated and underrated teams, who's going to get the number one pick in the 23 draft, and most importantly, who's going and winning the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, it's football season again?
Football. Monday football, Sunday football, Thursday football, Friday football, Saturday football.
Oh, well, college football, regular football. I don't know. Canadian football. I don't know.
Flag football.
Let's put it this way.
Madden
just a little
football.
Yeah.
ESPN 2K5 football.
The Mutant Football League, which is kind of a deep cut.
Arena Football League.
Oh God. Here's what I want to say, though. Just a little behind the curtain so you know what's going on for the football season with our show. The Rapid Rundown is back. It is back.
Oh, my God. It's back.
Which means we're going to break down the games. And now, well, last year when we did this, we were on Saturdays. Now you're going to get all the games from us because we're on a perfect day now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get Thursday's games. You're going to get Saturday's games. You get Sunday's games. You can get them all.
And there's no end to the content because everything is content and content is everything. Aren't you glad I came back for this one?
And by the way, you'll get all our picks across social media. There's going to be more content than ever during the football season. Also, on the Game On side, Johnny Montalbano will be doing Monty Moments on the college football season, giving you picks. Also, we'll be doing our gambling lines again. This year, I should say, we're introducing a bench lock. is what I'll call it. Basically,
everybody's going to have a lock of the week, basically.
I like that name, bench lock. I came up with that as I was thinking about what I was going to say.
Hey.
It's amazing how the brain works sometimes. But yes, we're going to have bench locks every week. And basically that bench lock is double the points. We didn't do this over the first couple of years. This is a little wrinkle into the...
It's going to be an ETV network competition between the 5 of us and whoever else.
Yeah, so make sure you don't miss that preview tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific if you're up that early in the West Coast. And
people got to work, so they'll be up.
Yeah. Just bring a proper 12 and come join us.
Yep.
God damn it. God damn it.
All right, so that's gonna wrap things up for this.
Thank you, Vince McMahon.
Thank you. You know what? You guys close out this show. I'm making an impact for the 150th episode. I'm walking out. Good night, everybody.
All right. For Tom Albano, for Nick Fodera, I'm Nick Morgasen. We'll see you next week for episode 151 of Empty the Bench on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see you next week.